This episode is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform where you can build your own personal website, online portfolio, or online store. It's fantastic.
Or a little of all of them.
Little column A, little column B, little column C. All three. No problems. You can go to squarespace.com and use the offer code THUMBS at checkout for a free trial and 10% off. That's squarespace.com, offer code THUMBS. And yeah, thanks, Squarespace.
Oh, thanks, Sean.
Big news.
It's going to smell like feet in here later. That's
no, it's not.
News.
My feet don't stink. First off, something I'm very proud of.
Oh, we've talked about it. These feet don't stink. That's a classic bumper sticker from a mid-state conservative truck.
How dare you?
Mid-state conservative.
Whatever. It's that conversation came and went.
There are many gross things about me, but I do not have body odor is not one of them. That was actually the original line to 99 Problems.
There are many things about me, but body odor is not, that are gross, but body odor is not one of them.
Anyway, look, let's just try it out in the studio. This is my first draft. I don't know.
What is your big...
Fucking turn me up my headphones.
Fucking news.
I have big fucking news.
I want to hear it.
I don't actually have any big news. I just wanted to get everybody excited for a podcast about things.
Man, you've had the opposite effect.
I know. I got people excited about a podcast about nothing, is what you mean when you say I have the opposite effect.
The Seinfeld of podcasts.
Oof. Yes. Yes, and. We don't shut people down here.
Jesus.
That's right. Be good to your scene partner. Yes, and.
Yes, and. It's the Seinfeld of podcast, and it.
And it's August 13th, 2014.
This is Idle Thumbs 171. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
I'm Sean Vanneman.
And I'm Danielle Riendo.
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Yo.
Jake, you have smarmy eyes right now.
I've got the smarmy eyes.
You got all smarmy eye McGee over there.
Yeah.
Smarmy eye McGee.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have them, but now I'm laughing. This is terrible.
In the spirit of yes and, I'm hoping that you say yes and. Did you play Divinity yet?
No, I have not played. I've played 4 games this week.
Good to your scene partner.
Divinity. Yes, and maybe not that one yet.
And it's about churches.
Yeah, basically.
And
I am moving at a I will never finish the game snail's pace.
Oh.
Through Divinity, I kind of folding it into my mornings if I don't go to the
Divinity Original Sin.
The same. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. We must punt on it or something until all I can do is sell a Remo on it, which is you will like this game more than you can imagine.
I'm projecting forward and trying to think of when I can have time to sit down with a game like this and play enough of it for it to be worthwhile.
You're going to like it so much.
I believe you.
There's so many systems. I don't know what else to say. And it's beautiful. And it's devoid of cruft. But it's packed full of shit. It's amazing. It is so much stuff in it.
Devoid of cruft, packed full of shit. Divinity.
Yeah. That's for free.
All the people who I know like this, who've played it like it.
Yeah.
Everyone likes it.
Everyone likes it.
I want to play
I'm sure there are people who don't like it.
But I feel like there's like the other game that you love, there's sort of a high bar to entry.
How
you need to
dare
play
you.
it for a while.
Really? Well, the thing is, it's single. I mean,
That's what I've heard anyway. You know,
I definitely don't feel like I'm very good at it because it's top-down, isometric, like Diablo. But then when you
we got crapped on a lot last time you said it was like Diablo.
It is. It fucking is. You're in a fucking cave.
Like, tactical stuff in it though. Like, the way you
the combat is not the same.
Okay.
I never
It's like
made
a
that
classic
assertion.
computer RPG, right?
Yeah, when you get into
Baldur's
a
Gate
combat
or something.
situation that you get into completely fluidly, it becomes turn-based, but where like distance to your characters, distance to your targets really matters. So you have basically like points of initiation, and you spend those to do damage or move about the playing field. But it's completely seamless, which is the thing that's beautiful about it. Like you don't. It's not like there's not like the Diablo part of the game is an overworld, and then you go whoa, 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 you go into a fight, you know, like a Final Fantasy or something. It's like just completely fluid into it. It's really nice. And then all of the spells, both in those confrontations and in world exploration, are elemental, which is nice. So you get through fire with water, and you can like set poison on fire to get through that and stuff like that. In those paradigms that play to like the math of the turn-based strategy also exist in the overworld, like walking around. So, I can get through this area by shooting that barrel over there if it's within my range with an arrow, with a fire arrow, or I can use a spell or. Sure. It's really nice. All that stuff is just completely seamlessly blended in a way that's really, really smart in a game designed by smart people. It's awesome and really well executed.
Nice.
Beautiful. Yeah. You'll like it.
It's really interesting to me that this game has taken a certain like circle of people by storm, it seems anyway, because
I don't even like shit like this. This isn't for me.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm... Yeah.
Like, this is what, the third Divinity game, I think?
Couldn't say.
I think
like
it is.
this game is so not for me.
Right, no, I know.
That I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
Right.
It'd be like somebody handing me the third Harry Potter book and be like, these kid wizards are pretty entertaining. You know, like, there's a whole bunch of these. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That's why it's fascinating to me, because I've been aware of this series in a very light way of like, I know it exists. Like Jane's really into them.
Right,
and like,
right.
They're definitely people who this is just their jam, right? Like this sort of somewhat traditional style computer RPGs. And like, I like some of that stuff, but this game has just dominated like Twitter and Facebook feeds of a surprising number of people I know who I never see talk about that. Kind of game.
Yeah. This is not in my orbit.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like there are 2 spin-offs to the original and then 2 sequels. Well, actually, Original Sin is a prequel. So it has
Original
4
Sin,
games.
obviously.
Yes. Original Sin.
As Original Sin
Yeah.
is to all of us Catholics
Yes.
the prequel to our life of shame.
That's correct. We're all terrible. As I learned in Catholic school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Catholic school my entire
Is
life.
that 3 of us? 3 out of the... Did you grow up Catholic?
I grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up Catholic, but I went to Catholic high school.
Oh, I see.
I went to Catholic summer camp as a kid, where every morning we went to 6 a.m. Latin mass.
Oh, good.
It's hardcore.
That's intense.
Did the guy walk around with the like smoke orb?
The censor,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
I call it a smoke orb.
Yeah, that's what they refer to it as now. Since Vatican
It's better
II.
that way.
We have a smoke orb.
A sick smoke orb.
That was a big thing that John Paul II was
He was big on that.
big booster.
Yeah.
That looks like a smoke orb to me. Okay, next line of business. Latin's out.
Latin's out.
Women
smoke
priests?
orb
Nah.
in the house.
Oh, that's special. Well, speaking of Divinity, I played a game about divinity, although not a Catholic or Christian
Oh,
divinity.
I thought you were going to say like divining.
No. Well,
finding
sort
water.
of.
What? Yeah, this is dowsing.
There is actually quite a lot of divining going on in Oracle, which is a weird, fascinating game it's one of the people who made Glitch Hikers also made this game. It's called Oracle.
I've never
and
heard of this game.
It's tiny and weird and kind of wonderful.
Okay.
It's sort of like part
Wait,
one.
you were going to say it's spelled as though it were not spelled the way Oracle is spelled.
Well, it is. It's just styled with Greek letters, so
Oh.
it's very
The O is an
you know,
omega.
yeah, omega.
As
like
the
that.
Greeks intended.
You know, that's what they wanted. That's, you know, what the Greeks wanted, so it makes sense.
Yes, and
Yes, and it's also it's part one of a 4-part little bitty tiny little game series by this person who made Glitch Hikers, and their name is Celestine. Oh my god. I'll find out later.
Oh,
We
you
can
slipped
put it
on that.
their name is
somewhere, yeah.
Celeste. Oh my god! But it's styled with
Celestine,
like Greek
oh my God.
letters.
Yes, it's a Greek Celestine prophecy is their name. No, it's actually a really cool little sort of procedurally generated prophecy sim.
Huh.
So what you do is you're in a first person perspective and you're looking at a fire, and the fire represents an actual oracle. And you are given prompts, which correspond to sort of just numbers on your keyboard. Things like stars, or the air itself, or a great warrior, things like that. You hit whatever prompts you like, and it sort of creates a little prophecy for you. Like, it's all very, you know, ancient, smoky, seer language. It's sort of like, in the great stars, a warrior stands beside you. That sort of thing. And then it goes into a trippy first-person perspective series of black and white symbols. It's kind of cool. It's super weird, but it's fun and interesting. It has an amazing soundtrack, and it's very much like you're interacting with this toy sort of thing, this sort of like Greek mythology inspired toy, which I'm super into because I've been reading Greek mythology lately.
Yeah, you like read through a whole Greek mythology book recently.
Yeah, I'm currently like rereading it for sort of ideas and inspiration for goofy things I can do on my own. But yeah, I super dug this because of that, because I've been so into sort of, you know, all of these myths and all of these weird things and all these prophecies and gods and monsters and so on and so forth. So that's been really fun, and it's like $1 or something like that for this game, and then you get the other 3 as they come out with the $1. So it's I think it's worth it to check out a cool, interesting, weird thing for sure.
That sounds fascinating.
It's called Oracle.
Oracle.
It's called Omega Reckle.
Omega Reckle.
Mega Reckle.
I'm gonna look up that person's name because I probably should know this.
It's pronounced Omegarical, Jake.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
It's Omega Don Nichols.
Simulicine.
What?
Simulicine. I probably didn't pronounce that right.
You
and
did.
I'm
Let's
sorry.
just.
Yes, you did. And
Yeah.
And
well
that was
done.
correct. And
And also, speaking of divinity and the divine, I played a game called Gods Will Be Watching.
Oh yeah, I saw
Just
you playing that a
now.
minute
I'd
ago.
like to hear about this.
Is it an adventure game? It looked like an adventure
Sort
game.
of. So yeah, this is what's interesting about it. Is the
Yes,
is the
and-
kind of game
God, this is going to be a good one.
Improv cast.
Woof.
so
Plus his
I guess
girlfriend.
this game it's
Your girlfriend.
it's 2D, and it, as you say, it looks like an adventure game in that it's, you know, takes place on backdrops that are specific painted scenes. I mean, it's low resolutions. When I say painted, you know, it's pixel art, but and there are a lot of dialogue trees and things like that. So you know, point and click to move your character around. So in a lot of ways, you interact with it like an adventure game, but it's ridiculously brutal. Like you start, there's an introductory sequence, and then it says like 1 year earlier or something, and then it's good. And
I
then
always like that. I don't know. Games just don't do that.
no, it's cool.
always
It's
good.
I don't know. And you start. When I say you start, I mean the actual gameplay part starts in the middle of an attempt that you and your group of like 5, I think, are undertaking. You're like in a room. You have 3 hostages that you are like presiding over. There are guards outside trying to shoot their way into the room you're in, or like negotiate for release of the hostage. You know, they want to kill you basically and get the hostages alive, and you want to hack into their like database and acquire this information you need. And so the game just exists in basically this like pseudo stalemate kind of, and you are trying to buy time to get your hacker guy to like jack into this thing. And he has to, you know, he has a whole meter that he has to fill to like finish this job of acquiring this information. And I have not yet succeeded. This is only the first scene.
Is it actually Are there timers running on this, or is it like narrative time where there's beats of time? Like if you talk to someone, that counts as time passing?
I think it's actually a combination of both.
Okay.
Like, I think there's time passing that is just like you can't just stand there forever, but also every time you do things, it like ratchets up the amount of tension, which causes like when you do something, the guards outside will like move a notch closer to you. And then,
what does doing something in this game entail?
So it could entail like calming down the hostages by like chatting with them to calm them down, or shouting at them,
but you're interacting like an adventure game. You're pointing like and
kicking
clicking
one of them to like threaten them, or to instruct one of your like compatriots to lay down suppressing fire at the guards to cause them to like move back, or to tell your hacker guy to like actually make an attempt to hack into the thing.
Man, those sorts of scenes are fucking hard to make good.
Yeah, it's
like
it's using the language.
You're like it's literally bringing back like 5 years of Telltale of being like, even before I started, like episode 201, Ice Station Santa, where it's like Santa's at the door and you got to do all the but he's gonna get in, but he won't let you in unless you go in the butt. Yeah,
because it's hard to maintain that tension over.
But apparently you can fail if it's brutal.
The thing that's different about this than like a Telltale game is that there isn't like a discrete path to completion. I mean, I think the developer said there is like a way you can do this without anyone getting killed. But I mean, you're interacting with systems that are like tracking numbers. It's not, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like,
but those numbers have to hit thresholds that produce like,
but there's random chances,
custom
and stuff.
creative content though. But like a random chance of something, right, isn't because of I'm guessing because of the art style of the game, which is like character pixel art on top of painted pixel art.
An example of what I mean by random chance is that you can like charge up your hacking equipment, and every time you charge it up, it gives you like a percentage of likelihood of success when you actually say, okay, hack it now. Right. And like, so you can charge it up to the point that you have like a 76% chance to successfully hack the thing. And you're like, fuck, I want this to be better, but I know that I'm really pushing it on time and these guards are about to fucking break in. And I can see that this guy on the ground is like, his leg is like twitching, which means he's like, I forget if that's the one where he's overly relaxed or he's like amped up and ready to try and take you on. But like you're juggling, these are all variables that are not dependent on one another. So like that guy could be overly stressed out while separately your hacking thing is like approaching 100% and separately the guards are about to break in. But like those aren't necessarily because of each other. Those are because of all the things you've done culminating, like leading up to that. And so
reminds me of like some of that prototype shit that you and I were working on like
And so it's really, really stressful because the game is not set up to like funnel you towards an achievable goal. Right. It just has these systems and they're just there. And apparently the developers were not originally intending when this was made for a game jam initially, and then they expanded it out into like a, more built out thing that they're now selling. But it had its root in...
It's on Steam, right?
Yeah, it had its root in a game jam game. It's called Gods Will Be Watching. And they were saying they didn't intend to make a game about like just brutal moral choice, but it's just kind of what resulted when they just put these systems in and let players do it.
I think once you have an adventure game that has an impeding clock on actions that you take, it kind of optimizes towards that.
Yeah, but also the subject matter is just brutal. Like you can beat the shit out of these hostages to try and keep them in line. Like they will get up and attack you, and like you'll shoot them down. They can sometimes they can escape, like depending on what situation you've got yourself into. Like they'll run out, and then you've lost a negotiating chip, basically. Are you working towards that success of hacking outcome, that one outcome? Yes.
So you can fail in a multitude of ways.
You can fail in a lot of different ways.
But you can succeed.
You can succeed in various ways,
but the success condition is always the same.
Your success state could be very different, but your success condition...
Right, like you're like, I succeeded against all odds, like...
These two hostages are dead.
Like, this guy's fucked up, everything, whatever, but I got the data, or, like, perfect job.
Yeah, well, whatever perfect
no one got
is
hurt.
for you.
Yeah.
Seems like you'd still have to commit some sort of act to get through it, no matter what.
And
you can't just, like, walk up to the
no one got killed, but at what cost, or whatever.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I don't know.
And this is just
getting more and more excited about this
is
game.
referred to as, like, the intro scene. So, like, apparently this game is brutally difficult because you have after you finish this, and then I don't know what comes next because I haven't finished this yet. But like, I love the format, right? Like, I would like to play other games in this format. It definitely reminded me of The Walking Dead a bit. Just pushed more in the sort of juggling system variables direction, but like,
God, the first stuff we ever built was like only that. It was like only that, and it didn't make sense systemically from an episodic standpoint. Looking back, like the stuff that we like, our first prototype was like just got a bunch of timers in the world all working independently to each other, and then when one would happen instead of the other one would happening, they would like cause an outcome to happen. So we did just anything we could think of. The first one was like Sybil was pregnant. So like the baby's coming, but like you gotta like boil some water and like find some towels, and there's a zombie breaking in, doors, you gotta and like, this guy's also freaking out, so you like whichever one would like boil over would just cause a story moment to happen, and you had one goal, which was like deliver the baby, and it was I had a lot of promise, but the thing about that for episodic was like all those scenarios just would have to be so...
They'd all have to converge somehow.
They'd have to, well, not just that, but like you'd have to like really play test the crap out of them and like really like iterate on
you also just wouldn't be making a lot of game from a time standpoint. Compared to
it was just like it didn't really seem feasible.
True.
No, totally. I think this makes... This
is a singular
game is a really
release.
Great format to do it in because it's relatively low fidelity, right? Like they're not making a big 3D world, and so it's all sprites. It looks nice. It's got a fairly defined art style. It's that looks kind of trendy version.
It looks kind of like Super Time Force or Sword and Sorcery. Yeah, where everyone's kind of like elongated,
leggy,
it's a little
thin
chunky
limbs with like chunky bodies.
Yeah.
That's a very
the last night kind of looked like that a little bit.
Trendy thing.
The last night.
Yeah, the last night, the Cyberpunk Cop Killer looked a lot like that.
Yes, it does. That game is also in that category, and I appreciate that they're using, what they're using some of that kind of leeway they have with making something that is graphically lower fidelity.
I imagine things like aren't voiced in this.
No, it's not voiced. It's all captions on screen.
That's cool.
But it's really effective. I mean, it's tense as hell. My concern is that it is so brutal that I'm just going to burn out. And that's kind of one of the reactions I've seen to the game. And I feel like you could probably make a game like this and tune it to be less that way.
One way to do that is to just give people a clear point where it's okay to stop playing. And if you're really excited about like basically cutting your game for pacing, I think that like Nintendo...
What do you mean a clear way to stop playing?
I mean, get to a point in the game where it actually... I don't know how this game is structured, but if a game is really intense like this, I think it's okay for the game to every 20 minutes or so do a more soft version of the Nintendo. Like it's now is an acceptable time to put this down and come back to it later. But
I think Chris was talking more from like a brutal, like not from an intense,
difficult...
not from intense like reaction time. But
right,
I can't move forward. I'm stuck.
Yeah. Oh, like difficulty. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And
I thought you meant content intensity.
It is also brutal in content. Like it's both. I guess I'm kind of meant both. But I did in this particular case more mean that it's just hard to. It's like challenging to succeed,
to advance. Okay, I see.
But yeah, I mean, the brutality of the content. I think it feels to me like they earn it more than most games do because it is actually that is an advantage of it being so difficult. Just skill wise, is that it justifies the brutality of the creative content,
right?
Because the point is like this is not like this situation is a fucking disaster. Like this is like.
And it's so hard that you will resort to brutal things in the hopes that you will move forward.
Right.
It should
precisely.
be hard. Yeah. I played the web version of this actually quite a while ago.
Was that the Game Jam version?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think it was like a slightly more polished version of the, it was originally submitted to the Jam itself. A couple months ago, and I really loved it. I mean, that scenario was actually like you're on a planet or you're outdoor, you're somewhere in a wilderness environment, and there's also a robot. I don't know if that's still in the game, but you're basically trying to definitely you're basically trying to help people survive while an engineer fixes the machine that's going to basically give you food or something like that. And there's a psychologist, there's a doctor, there's an engineer, there's a robot, there's all these other personalities that you were sort of managing. And I just remember feeling like, A, this is really cool and interesting, and it feels good. That's sort of the way you're describing, like the content feels right for the difficulty. And B, that I just could not get it right no matter how often I played it. Like, I don't think I got very far at all, just, spending a couple of hours with it. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it seems like the difficulty does sort of suit this.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's tough because, like, getting it right is the trick, right? You're like,
yeah.
It's representing things that in my knowledge of what a human being can do, like, I should maybe be able to succeed this one way, but I don't know if that's a way I'm allowed to succeed. Like, how is that stuff then visually represented? Like, these things, I don't know. I find these sorts of design problems when it comes to actual, like, AV on top of systems, on top of, like, human expectation for what I should be able to do to get myself out of this situation, being always, like, the most challenging conundrum.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I think, at least in theory, I really like the format of this game, because it seems to basically be like vignettes. You know what I mean? Like, I think this would be all the more frustrating if it were just like an ongoing slog. And I'm speaking theoretically because I obviously haven't even gotten past the first thing.
Yeah.
But I like that I'm aware of how the game is generally structured, and it is these different scenarios, and I like the idea of that. And they sort of establish that from the beginning of the game, having the first scenario take place a year before the actual intro sequence. Like, they're set up right at the beginning, like, we're going to jump around here and, like, tell different parts of these people's story. And I would like to see more people play this. And I didn't make this connection until just this second, actually. But as I'm thinking about this, and as I'm hearing what, like, Danielle and Sean, you guys have been saying, it reminds me of The Last Express, which I was on, like, an hour and a half long podcast about this week. I was on the 3 Moves Ahead podcast.
No, you were on TMA this week?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say something? I would listen to that. Maybe I still will.
Now it's the current
Maybe
episode.
if you,
is that on the Idle Thumbs public?
you can visit idlethumbs.net and see mention of this.
I saw that they had did a Last Express episode, but I didn't know Chris was on it.
I was on it. The reason they're a strategy game podcast, but they did that because it is obviously the 100th anniversary of World War I, of the Great War.
Obviously.
And
First Great War.
And
All quite Western Front. Great book.
And it just they're just doing kind of a month-long kind of World War I retrospective, I guess. And so Last Express is set in the 3 days on the eve of World War I, essentially, on a train on the Orient Express. And it's a great game in some of the same ways I like this other game, The Gods Will Be Watching, or Gods Will Be Watching. And also very difficult for very similar reasons, which is...
I think I'm about to fail, but I might... Oh, it's over. Okay, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is that The Last Express has a constantly running clock that means regardless of where you are on this train, and a train was a brilliant place to set it for this reason, because it restricts the amount of space you imagine you should have access to. Like, the whole thing's one axis. You just go back and forth.
Thematically, it's also brilliant in that it's a thing that's moving forward at a steady pace to a destination. It's like thematically all really nice.
For sure. This game thematically is like one of the strongest.
Oh, Last Express?
Constructions of like any game ever been made. It's like in terms of how everything just slots together and kind of tonally stacks on itself. It's brilliant. But so as you go back and forth on this train along this axis, like, different things are just happening all the time. Characters are having conversations, they're walking around, and if you are not present in point A to hear something, instead you're standing over at point B and someone's talking to someone else at point A, you're just not going to hear that if you weren't there at that moment.
Yeah, it's like opportunity cost.
Yeah, it's great. But because of this, it means it's very, very, very possible to do something irrevocably incorrect, and then you lose.
You got to bust out that Fabergé egg.
You have to bring out.
But it has a time mechanic where you can go back to a moment in time.
Exactly. You rewind the clock and you go and you can try again. But the thing that's really brutal about it, Rob was pointing this out on day 2 especially, like, you can do things wrong that you don't know are wrong until like a day and a half later, and then you lose and you have to
like
go
life.
all the way back. Yeah. And I
like Life and Sierra games.
Man, we should talk about the
Geometry Wars. Yes.
We'll talk and do things in day 1 of Geometry Wars.
Yeah, we should.
But it's both of these games, I feel like they both have, to me, they're both frustrating in a lot of ways, but they both make me wish this were a more common format. And I feel like if it were more common, we would start to just develop best practices for how to make games
Exactly
in this style
right. Yeah, I was
less
just going to say
frustrating.
that.
You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
think one of the challenges is if you want to do something like this, even now, 17 years post Last Express,
You have like 4
it
or
still
5
feels
games
novel.
you can look at and go like,
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't really know if I want to have an egg thing that I got to
Yeah,
do.
right.
Like, I also don't know if I want to do a full-on restart.
Yeah.
No failure? That's not good either. Well, fuck it. Let's just try something new. Like, you literally have nothing to look at. It's really fucking tough.
Do you think
Yeah.
the vignettes help with that potentially, or like
Yeah,
this
potentially.
structure?
I mean, I think Last Express, you could do something like Last Express where instead of having the time mechanic, you divide it up into kind of a day by day structure.
When you
or
complete
something.
chapters, then it's just
Yeah,
you
exactly.
did it.
You
You're
could
done.
next.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would
I
be
know a game like
strictly
that.
better in that game or not, but you know, I mean, it's a possible thing to do. Another really brilliant thing about the Last Express, since I'm talking about it, I guess,
Is that egg?
is and this was something Rob kind of pointed out a bit on their podcast. You should listen to theirs if you're interested in this conversation.
Yeah,
or that
just
game.
aside, if you haven't listened to 3 Moves Ahead, it's a strategy game podcast that's hosted on idlethumbs.net. It's fucking really good.
And sometimes they
It's
do things like
amazing.
talk about the Last Express.
Yeah. Rob and Troy are really smart about games, as other
They
guests.
really, really are.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things about it is, so this game came out in the 90s, you know, in the midst of LucasArts and Sierra adventure games. And one of the things I like about The Last Express is how defined your character is. So one of the first things, he's not like a particularly unusual character. He's kind of this sort of rakish American doctor who definitely is set up archetypally to be like contrast to all of these European kind of stand-ins for their socio-political kind of cultures, which works well. Like Rob called it a game about archetypes, I think, and I think that's true. But one of the ways that they evoke these parts of your character is by just having your character do things that make sense for the character, and that informs you, the player, of this character's predisposition. So a very early event in this game, this is not a spoiler because it happens very, very early. You arrive on this train mid-journey, like you sort of sneak onto this train. You're intending to meet this friend of yours, and you very, very quickly find him dead in his cabin. He's just bloody and murdered. And if you click on him, you know, the thing that would happen in any other adventure game is your character would like say something about it, you know, or like it would walk to it or something. But you click on him and you immediately go and pick up this corpse. And then from that point, you can like drop it on a table, drop it into a trunk, or drop it out the window. You know, like the game fills in some
And
of
if you
that
do none of those things, you're just arrested for the murder immediately.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I think you dropped on the table, don't you also get?
Yeah. Yeah. If the body's
arrested?
if the body's found, you get arrested for murder because you're caught literally red-handed, actually bloody-handed, you know, with a dead person.
Mm-hmm. How do you do it? Do you wash your hands after the body? I can't remember.
I didn't when I was replaying it this time. I can't remember. There's a lot of different.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about this game, though, is that there are different ways you can achieve the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can succeed by hiding the body and disposing of it later, or by disposing of it immediately, and that has like totally different reactions way later in the game, which is really cool. But I like that. That they make no bones about your character just being like, well, got to deal with this immediately. There's none of this like navel gazing kind of like just milk toast observation of item. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think that's people get so obsessed with the idea of like, well, what do players want to do? And I think that is where a lot of the navel gazing comes in, where it's like, well, players would want to do all these things. Let's just, when they express character intent onto an object, give them nothing. Like it seems to be the reaction, because if the character does something specific, it's like, well, what if the guy didn't want? What if the player doesn't want to do that?
In a case
So
where
they
it's a
just end up
story
doing
game and
nothing.
you're playing as a specific person, though, there's a lot of power in just, instead of asking what you want, to instead say, okay, here's what happened, and now you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
Well, I think
you're
also like
creating a situation.
The player must react to the thing that their character is capable of, or be given a host of options that this particular character that they're being
Right.
asked to be,
or it's like
can
their
do.
instinct, and then the conscious mind is you, or whatever it is. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, well, the thing is, all games do this, right? Like, it's just for some reason, certain interactions, I think designers like to pretend that there's like something more sacrosanct about player intention. But in reality, every game does this.
Exactly right.
If you have a game with a gun, the game is implicitly saying you're supposed to fire at these guys. That's what this character would do. Like, that's removing a massive swath of player choice from the equation by saying that is the option. You can fire the gun or not fire the gun, but those are probably you better fire it or you're going to die. But then suddenly, like, interacting with this other thing has to be this completely, like, boring, nothing interaction because, well, what if the player doesn't want to do that? Which, in a lot of games, that makes sense. Like, that does make sense in a game like Deus Ex or whatever, where you do want to say, okay, basically, everyone who plays this game is going to end up getting from this point to this point because that's your objective. But there's, like, all different ways you can do it, and that game applies a very thin, like, has a very light touch about what you can do, but you have to be able to, I think, back that up with significant, substantial, actual weight in terms of the systems the player can interact with. Otherwise, it's, I don't know. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. But I like in games where the player character is strongly defined. I think there's something to be said for, still giving the player some choice about things, but putting those choices within a meaningful context of, like, these are the things this particular person would probably do. Because, I mean, everyone, when you make a decision in life, you're probably making it within a lot of preconceptions and assumptions and contexts that you have formed. Like, you still are making decisions about things all the time, every day, but probably before you even started to make that decision, you filtered out like dozens or hundreds of options that for someone else might be totally there and reasonable, depending on, like, their background or, like, how much money they have maybe, or, like, what their personality is or what their job is or what the power dynamic is in the situation. And I think it's a powerful storytelling tool in games to acknowledge that instead of just saying, like, you can just do whatever because you can.
Amen.
Last Express is cool. The Last Express is not, like, the ultimate expression of all those things, but it's a good game. It's a fucking frustrating game.
It's too bad when you click on the body, he doesn't, instead of picking it up, just do something absurd. It's like, this is what this character would do.
Kicking it.
Or just,
he starts dancing
sits
with
it up and, like tries to, like, Weekend at Bernie's it, and, like, he's like, oh, this is my buddy. You have to walk around with a...
He dances the tango with it.
Yeah, exactly
it's like,
right.
What?
Exactly right.
I've always wanted to do this.
This is my drunk friend.
God, if that were the way that you get past that's like the third option for when the, like, conductor opens the door.
You're like, throw it out the window, put it on the table in the trunk, or puppeteer. You're like, what puppeteer?
God, have you seen the Clue movie?
I love that movie.
God.
Oh my gosh. When the cop shows up and they're like, we're just all a bunch of people having a good time, officer. Yeah. There's this scene where Miss Scarlet, like, basically makes out with a corpse.
Oh, yeah.
And it has grossed me out my entire fucking life. I can't watch it. Oh, and I watched that movie a lot last year, probably like 20 times.
What?
Yeah, it was when I broke my leg and I was, like, on pain medicine. I couldn't sleep and stuff, and I had a rough month of sleep, and that was, like, my security blanket movie. I would just put on the Clue movie and watch it all the way through. I had different ways of watching
Flames on the side of your leg.
I feel like I talked about this. Flames. Didn't I talk about this in the podcast?
I can't remember.
I could have sworn I did. Because I'd have
that might have been on one of the episodes that just took place in your mind when you were at home.
my opiate fever dreams.
Yeah.
No, I'd have, like, this is my Colonel Mustard viewing, and I would just watch Martin Mull the entire time.
Oh my God.
And I would, like, because there's so much good background acting in that movie. It's incredible. So I would just, like, only watch him.
That's a great way to watch a movie that you've seen a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's awesome. Big ensemble Wes Anderson movies are also good at that.
Totally.
Like Life Aquatic is a great one.
Mm-hmm. God, that's great.
Anyway,
I'm really excited by that idea.
Alien
Gosford
super
Park,
works for that. At least the first
Which-
half of Alien.
The first.
the first time Alien, where they're all
half.
like, yeah.
They're all doing their own thing in every scene. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anyway.
I just want to play the Last Express
Really need
where he starts kicking the guy the moment you click on him. That implies so many things to me.
That would happen
Just
that would happen in Full Throttle.
Just like, what?
I hate
Starts
you.
crying. Yeah, I hate you. Oh, you're dead.
Oh.
Well, no, I mean, the thing that's fascinating is if he's doing that because he's dead.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That is.
You left me.
Yeah, if he doesn't say anything, he just kicks the guy 5 times. He just keeps kicking him until you stop and do something else. Then he picks him up, puts him on the table.
Oh, you mean like in Far Cry 4, where like you can kick all sorts of things? You can kick all sorts of dead bodies? Isn't that a thing you can do in Far Cry 4?
He doesn't
Player
just
choice in
start-
Far Cry 4. Player choice. Finally, the game to end all games.
But he doesn't just automatically keep kicking the guy until they tell him to stop. Far Cry 5.
God, now I really want to make a game
Where you just kick corpses everywhere.
Did you guys not see that clip? Of like the
No, I
guy,
did not-
it was like
I did not see
I'm making this joke because it was
yes.
at a junket. He's like, "Yeah, of course you can kick the bodies. You can kick. People are going to be kicking all sorts of bodies in this game."
Yeah, the
sent this
back of the
around
box
in Team Play.
feature, you know.
How did he laugh?
Evil Cookie Monster laugh.
Cookies are a sometimes food.
You can kick all
Fuck
kinds
that,
of
by the way.
bodies.
Cookies are a sometimes food. Ugh. Anyway, sorry. What were we talking about?
What game do you
What
want
game
to
do you wanna
make?
I just think it would be
Yes,
fascinating
Yes, he does.
to make or play a game in which the player
Which Cookie Monster
character-
kicks corpses.
in which, sure, in which the player character is that much of an enigma to the player. You know what I mean? Where the character.
Oh, like you have amnesia.
No,
Oh.
I don't mean. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying
know.
we're just like the motivations and like just not amnesia. Like you literally can't remember things, but just you are as the player discovering who this character is, not the character discovering who the character is.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
The character is confidently
Yes.
his or her specific
okay, so
self.
imagine a video game based on Werner Herzog's Bad Lieutenant movie.
Whoa.
Have you guys seen this movie?
No, that was as I'm sure all of our readers have.
A lot of people have seen Bad
lot.
Lieutenant.
really? I
That
haven't
movie
seen
is
it.
huge.
No, I haven't seen
the
it.
movie
Yeah, a
is-
lot of people have seen it. I didn't see it.
Okay, damn it, Danielle, you haven't seen it either.
No, I haven't.
Try again.
We're the worst. But I know what you mean.
I only
though.
bring it up because I won't give a bunch of details about it, but the Nicolas Cage character.
We're gonna get so much shit for not seeing Bad Lieutenant.
I
By the way,
know.
get fucking ready for that.
I
Anyway,
I didn't see Casablanca. I'm ready for fucking Bad Lieutenant hate mail, all right?
It's just
Brett Duville. Fuck you. Sorry, he's a friend. He did send me a mean message, though.
it's one of those movies where the
Calling him
character
out.
just keeps one-upping himself, and you as the viewer are just in shock. Like you watch that movie, and he just keeps doing things that are more and more outrageous, not just for its own sake. It's not just like a
Right.
circus, but like it's his character just is capable of acting in such shocking and strange ways.
This is the game where you play as Nick Brecken, is what you're saying.
right, but no, you want a game where you give your player the sort of micro objectives
Brecken.
that you give like an adventure game protagonist, something where they go over here, and then
Right.
the thing that they do
is just surprising.
creates
And
its own new scenario that
Right,
you then
yeah,
have to
yeah,
react to, and then you
that's
just
pretty good.
stair step up.
Yeah.
I would play this Brecken game.
Cookie
Full
Monster Kicks
Brecken.
Corpses had very nice alliteration.
Where's the Bad Lieutenant of video games game industry?
Readers?
It's in the same place as the Casablanca of video games, not seen or conceived by Sean Bannerman.
Or conceived by?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. I did not conceive of either of those things.
But you won't come up with the video game of it because you haven't.
You don't know that.
the film. That's true.
Okay, now I'll fucking do it out of spite, as is my main motivator.
Chris described this thing
Please
called
do.
Bad
I would
Lieutenant
like to
once.
hear that.
Hold on. I need to become an expert on Bad Lieutenant. I'll be back.
I need to become an expert on Bad Lieutenants.
There are two unrelated films called Bad Lieutenant.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is one of them a sequel to Bad Santa?
Yes.
Neither of them is.
All right, well, not interested.
Whoa.
I like that movie.
I know, it's like one of those movies, right?
It's not bad. Well,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's like one of those
okay, yes,
movies.
Ah,
Sorry. I didn't even mean that one
it's
at all, actually.
No, but it's like one of those movies where people are like, oh, yeah. Yeah, there's moments. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's Terry Zwigoff of all people.
Huh.
The guy who made the movie about R. Crumb.
Yeah.
That's a crazy movie.
American Splendor? No.
that's what about Harvey Peacock.
That's about Harvey
Sorry.
Pekar.
Aren't they? They're different people.
Yeah.
R.
Our
Crumb
Crumb shows up in that movie, I think. But
Yeah, the R. Crumb movie is a document. It's an actual documentary.
Oh, okay.
Like a straight documentary. It's really good. Anyway, whatever. Games.
I played another cool game.
Yeah.
what?
There's no good segue for it. I was trying to think of something that related here,
we
but
can
appreciate your
retroactively
efforts.
bolt one on them.
yeah,
we
maybe
can try.
We can try. I mean, it's gonna be a little tough.
Just say speaking of Bad Lieutenant, and then talk about whatever.
Okay. Speaking of Bad Lieutenant,
Yeah.
I played this game about a girl driving home in the Midwest.
Oh, exactly.
You know,
I can't wait to hear how this relates to Bad Lieutenant.
It relates really, really strongly.
Just keep it.
definitely-
That doesn't seem like it relates the entire time. She's trying to.
It relates because, a good percentage of people who are in the Midwest go on to military service and they become lieutenants, and some of them are probably bad lieutenants.
That's a really good point.
Done.
So true.
I did what I could, all right?
Statistically speaking,
I
All
gave
facts.
you nothing, but you actually.
really
I gave you what you asked for. And with that, goodbye.
I tried, right?
Okay,
That's all
sorry.
What is the name of
That's all
this
I can do.
What's this game?
The name of this game is 3/4 Home, as
Okay.
in you're 3/4 of the way somewhere. And it is a game. It's really an interactive short story. I pretty much played games that are kind of more narrative based and not exactly super gameplay heavy this week, but that's cool. That's what happens sometimes. You are a girl. You are a woman. You're 24 years old. Her name is Kelly, and you are just driving on the road in the middle of somewhere in Nebraska. It's 2 hours from Omaha. That's all you ever know about the actual town. And you're having conversation with your mother and then your father and your brother in the middle of a storm. And you're driving home.
Like all in the car or on the phone or something?
While you're on the phone, they're in the house. So you're just having phone conversations. And you do have choice in what you say as responses. But for the most part, it's kind of, the story is kind of the story. You can add different flavor. And that way it's kind of like
If you
coming out
play it, you
simulator.
play it.
If you play it, you play it. All right? That's how it works.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. It's a lot like Coming Out Simulator, not in subject matter, but in terms of like, it's a narrative-based game where you're making some choices, but the story is, basically what it is.
Yep.
I
like games like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thinking about Coming Out Simulator, I was thinking about that this week, actually. Like, I like games that are just, that seems like a totally great reason for a game to exist, which is experience this very specific thing that another person has experienced. Like, make some of the same choices and just experience it the way and let it wash over you as it would if you were really experiencing it. Like, I think that's a totally valid
I think
way
there's
for
a lot of
stories
power
to
in that.
exist.
I know people poo-poo this a bit, and I also love saying poo-poo.
I like when people say poo-poo the way you said poo-poo.
Poo-poo.
As opposed to poo-poo.
Yeah,
Oh,
poo-poo
yeah.
it. Poo-poo it sounds like poop.
Like,
Yeah.
Like
No, this is-
poo-poo
this is
sounds
a
like a
poo-poo.
French, like it's like a...
A poo-poo.
Yeah.
it's like a small bird or a dog.
Yeah. Look at that flying poo-poo over
It's
there.
like a small bird noise.
Poo-poo.
A poo-poo.
Yes. Exactly like
I said it and I will not unsay it.
it's okay. I think poo-poo is a
Okay, so
delightful phrase.
yeah, I agree with you. The people do...
People do poo-poo this, and it annoys me because
Jake loves it.
People
frankly,
do poo-poo.
do the
This.
poo-poo. That annoys me because I do actually think there is inherent power in being able to make choices, even if they're not extremely crucial to the story that's being told. I really do feel like that draws me in a little bit further.
I've
to
always...
the story.
I don't know. We obviously thought about this, not you and I, but
Yeah,
the world. But
obviously, yeah.
if you're making a choice, like, then it mattered. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Then that's the story. It doesn't need to have like
totally
the
agree with
fucking
that.
fable
Right.
plant a tree and watch it grow as an old man. Oh yes,
It
my
doesn't need to be that
permanence
on the
is
nose,
clearly
yeah.
here on the world. Like, it fucking happened.
Right. The choice has
Absolutely.
value maybe more so than the result often.
Like, people want
Yeah,
some sort of like goddamn butterfly effect for that. No, people don't want that. Actually, nobody fucking wants that, because if you get it, it's bad. But because then you feel like you're completely out of control. But people want, for a game to like have choice, it has to have that to value. Ugh, it makes me.
Yeah, it's annoying. And
Infuriating.
it's just juvenile, right? It's very like on the nose and juvenile and
Well, my choices
not
didn't really matter.
subtle. Yeah,
So, you know.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, this is a good game. I would recommend checking it out if you like.
How do you find this game?
This is on itch.io, as is Oracle.
As is
actually.
all the things you love.
Yeah, I've been super up on that lately. It's
Like,
great. It's a great platform, honestly.
Yeah, I was.
Itch.io.
Oh, man.
itch.io.
I was on it the other day
I don't know if it's
because
pronounced that way. I'm just so people
Steam-
know how to
I-
type
yeah,
it
I
in.
was
call it
down
that,
for a while
but, yeah.
for certain people.
So you played some itch.io?
No, because if you go to issteamdown.com, it says like, oh yeah, people are having trouble, or like, nope, it's you. But if Steam is down, it says here are some good alternatives. In itch.io is like
Okay.
the first on the list.
Itch.io reminds
cool.
me of the one thing that I played, and it was only for a few minutes.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
No,
Ichiro
Itchy and scratchy.
Lamb from Deja Vu.
you know,
There you go.
the Ben and Dan adventure games, Been There, Dan,
Yeah.
That, and Time,
Yeah.
Gentlemen, Please.
Yeah.
Ben Ward, one of those two guys, hangs out on the Idle forums a lot, and this was like in 2009, we did an Idle Thumbs newspaper called the Journal of Games. We put out at GDC, And then in like 2011, we were talking about maybe doing another one, and I started rounding up content for it, but we just never got enough content or time to put it together. But Ben Ward of Dan and Ben wrote a choose your own adventure game that we were going to publish, like just spread throughout the newspaper that you would jump around in.
Nice.
And then that never happened. And 3 years later, he actually just put it out, and it's on itch.io. It's called, what is it called? It's called The Often Ending Story, and it's apparently inspired by the fighting fantasy book series, which is like a series of RPG-esque choose your own adventures. Anyway, it's, if you like Ben there, Dan, that type stuff, it's of that style, but it's a Twine game, and it was born from a failed Idle Thumbs project.
I love that game.
I never.
Been there, Dan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's called Been there, Dan.
you should play it, or I mean, at least if you search for his name or The Often Ending Story, Rock Paper Shotgun has a write up on it. But this led me to the Wikipedia page for these books, because I never read the fighting fantasy books, but it's worth reading this just because there's a small.
I think they were bigger in the UK.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a series of single-player role-playing game books made by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. But the relevant Idle Thumbs information is the first volumes in the series were published by Puffin in 1982, with the rights to the series eventually being purchased by Wizard Books in 2002.
Whoa!
So that's it. That's all.
Puffin sells to
Last
Wizard.
edit, Jake Rodkin, 2007.
But yeah, no, his Twine game is good in that it starts off seeming very much like you're just in a fantasy game, but it fans outward without really ever tucking back in on itself, and just becomes increasingly outrageous the farther out you get into these different branches, and it's worth playing. That's all.
I think there's a new build of Twine that came out last week. They're still not to Twine 2.0 yet, but there's a new
Twine's
build.
pretty great.
If you're having troubles with Twine, hopefully this one fixes it. Twine has been broken for me for like months. It
Twine's
sucks.
a lot of fun to
It's
play
an
with.
important thing in my life.
Yeah. Good old Twine. I also played The Sunless Sea, which is really cool and really good and interesting, but I'd probably better off talking about it next time, because I've not played much of it.
Okay.
It's a game with actual gameplay that I played this week. But
Should we take a break?
I think we should take a break.
I guess.
Jake, you can keep talking, Jake.
So good. Yes.
You know what's so good?
What is so good?
Nature Box.
The fucking Nature Box.
It totally is Nature Box.
It is really Nature Box, yeah.
God, it
You know
is
why
so
they're good?
Why is
They're
that, Sean?
delicious.
One fact, yes. Fact number 2, you go on your computer, naturebox.com, you look at a bunch of delicious snacks, because you're into smart snacking. You
Smart
like things
snacking.
like dried pineapples. I really
Blueberry
enjoyed that
num-noms.
dried pineapple.
Those dried pineapple
We've
slices
talked
were
so
great.
much about those pineapples.
I know, but I'm going
really
back to
were,
it
like,
because
the
I
best
think about
ones.
it when I'm not thinking about this, having to talk about Nature Box on the podcast. I think about it when I'm just on my bike and I'm like, oh man, remember how good that pineapple was? Oh, it'd be so good. You know what you could do with that pineapple? I don't know if this is Nature Box approved, but I'm going to say so anyway. You can make some sort of island cocktail, some sort of pina colada.
perfect.
And you could just, right there on the rim, just plop that pineapple.
That's a good call.
Be so good. So if you were to get some snacks from Nature Box, that's one of the things I would consider.
How would you recommend doing that?
I would probably go to naturebox.com.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I would use the offer code thumbs because, I don't know, just guessing that that's a good one to use.
Yeah.
Probably great.
What would that do for you?
Probably give me 50% off my first order.
Wow.
I'm just spitballing here.
When Chris said, "How are you going to do that?" I thought you were going to be like, "Well,
First off, I would buy a nice white rum.
Yeah, I was like, I get some Gosling's Black Seal, get some gold rum.
By
get
the
some
way,
pineapple juice.
I made one of those cocktails from for my birthday. Thanks, NatureBox. Naturebox.com. Offer code thumbs.
delicious snacks.
Delicious snacks. If you want to get loaded, though, be Jake's friend.
Oh, yeah.
And for my birthday, he gave me like a white rum from Ballast Point, and then a maraschino liqueur and a copy of F. Scott Fitzgerald's On Drinking. What's it called?
It was just a bunch of F. Scott Fitzgerald's things about booze.
Yeah, and then inside of the
Excellent.
card was a Hemingway daiquiri, or no, some sort of daiquiri.
There's the Hemingway
daiquiri.
I gave you the Great American Novelist booze pack.
Oh, it was really good. I made one of those the other night.
Hemingway daiquiris
I made
are
3.
delicious.
That's
I didn't make one.
delightful.
I made 3. It was really nice. Yeah.
Sounds like a good time to watch some Clue. Have 3 of those.
Oh,
Watch
there's
Clue.
never a bad time to watch Clue.
Yeah.
That's
Watch one of the
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah.
Also, thanks Squarespace, our other sponsor for the week.
Red.
They're great.
Really good. One-stop shop
Chris
for a
was
website.
scandalized because we started talking about Squarespace immediately after talking about making a delicious daiquiri.
I was just going to say, if I was going to sit down on my computer, shake up a drink, a Hemingway daiquiri, and write the Great American website.
What if you were to make a portfolio to showcase all of these drinks that you've been making?
Squarespace would be an absolutely fantastic way to do that. You go to squarespace.com. I would probably, just because I just used the offer code thumbs a minute ago, I just try it again. Just,
Offer code thumbs?
hey man, maybe.
Who knows what you'll
See
get.
that I would
Give it
get,
a
a free month trial and 10% off my first order. I would also be able to do all of this without putting in my credit card information, which is pretty good.
Squarespace does make incredibly nice looking web pages for like no effort. It's stupid.
It's really nice.
It's not stupid.
It's stupid. That's their motto.
It's fantastic.
It's so stupid. I can't
Yeah.
believe it.
But no, they're a fantastic sponsor, and you can go to squarespace.com, offer code thumbs, and get a deal on your first Squarespace site.
Video games.
We're back.
We have to close that door or we're not back.
Really?
That door, there's like, who knows what's out there?
Colder air is out
All right,
there.
I'll close the door.
No, it's fine.
No?
Don't you think it's going
Oh
to
my
sound
God, I
fine?
feel very conflicted now.
Jake, you think it's going to sound bad?
Do you want me to close the door?
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. He's just stressed
Weird.
out.
I don't think we've ever recorded a podcast with the door open before.
Jake doesn't like change.
What if a strange man just walks by?
We have bigger problems than the fucking
Fuck,
podcast.
no matter what. It's like, oh, the office is empty. Good thing that soundproof door was closed. Just a hollow core.
Little did we know, there's been a man who hangs out outside.
There's a guy
the-
dancing the tango with a corpse out there, guys. I don't know what's going on.
It's natural. Well, he's just playing the Last Express in his own way.
He's just kicking that guy now.
Aren't we all? He's just kicking that guy. There's a guy kicking a guy out there, Chris.
Oh, it's just Nick Brecken.
It's just like,
I've been waiting for that guy.
Just my dream made real.
oh.
What, Nick Brecken kicking a guy?
No, just Chris, just a guy, an inscrutable man kicking someone.
God, you know
Kicking
that,
a corpse.
Like, there's
It's
that
like
just
the game I always wanted to exist.
fairly common conceit in like books and movies of someone dreaming something and they come true. What if it was all just horrible, weird shit like that? Like just someone was just kicking
That's
some
just the
guy.
monkey's paw, isn't it? Though, where you're like, I always wanted it. Like I don't know.
I always wanted a man kicking a corpse.
Then you're like, in a video game, and then I guess in that case,
I see.
in that case, a voice says it is or whatever, and then it's just a shitty credits roll.
The shittiest monkey's paw.
That's the worst version of the monkey's paw.
Yeah. That's just the monkey's paw as Twitter chillers.
A man,
Oh my God.
a man dreamt about a video game in which another man kicked a corpse. He saw a man kick a corpse and said, "No, I meant in a video game." And a
He
voice
was
said,
in a video game.
It is.
And then a skeleton farted at the end.
That's just, oh.
It is was spoken by a farting skeleton.
They're a hand puppet.
Who then started screaming, "It's cool." The guy woke up. Game over.
Twitter chillers.
I miss Twitter chillers.
It's almost that time of year again.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
A few months from now, Twitter Chillers will be back.
They better.
Yeah.
Pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like 8 weeks
Yeah. Not
until
even.
prime season.
Yeah, not even. I feel like as soon as you hit October.
God, working in a project-based industry is the worst for that.
Your perception of the passage
You're like,
of time is
October,
always
like the
bad.
game will be fucking a third done by in 8 weeks? No.
Nope. Well, okay.
Fuck.
Speaking of very few weeks from now, Penny Arcade Expo.
Oh,
Should we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
we ready to say things?
we're doing a live Idle Thumbs podcast at the Penny Arcade Expo on Sunday at 11:30?
11:30.
11:30
The Sphinx.
in the Sphinx Theater. I will be there. Jake will be there. Sean will be there. Danielle will be there, and Nick Brecken will be there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We'll all be there.
It'll probably be the best episode of Idle Thumbs.
It's going to be very good. It's going to be very good.
As all of our previous live episodes have shown, we're incredibly adept at them.
We
Danielle,
get better.
Danielle, this is your first time on a live Idle Thumbs.
It really is. It's my first time on a live podcast panel of any kind.
This
You
one's
very
gonna be
excited.
stoked?
I'm actually really stoked.
The thing that's nice is it's
I'm very
Sunday,
excited.
and that means we'll have a few days to like actually be at the show. Normally, we do these live shows, right? And Jake and I and Chris are tied to our developer booth, just saying the same 100 sentences over and over and over and over again. But that's not really going to be the case at this PAX. So we'll have seen some of the show. Hopefully, have some anecdotes. It'll be good. I think it's going to be a good show. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sunday, whatever day that is.
the
I don't know
Sunday
the
of
date.
PAX. And
The 30th, I believe.
there are no details yet, but we're also trying to put together some sort of outside of PAX Idle Thumbs meetup thing. So if you're in the area and not going to PAX for whatever reason, that may also, well, if that exists or falls apart, we'll let you know. Yeah.
Yeah, as in the storied history of Idle Thumbs meetups.
Idle Thumbs meetups.
We had one good one, but yeah.
We've had two good ones.
The
We've had two
evenings,
good ones.
Yeah, the evening's always challenging for
Yeah.
organization and also just finding a space and stuff like that.
What generally seems to happen is a huge crew amasses somewhere, and then they walk somewhere collectively in this huge giant bundle, and either you find a space and it's amazing and it works really well, or everyone just kind of bounces off the door of that shitty Fox sports bar and nothing happens. Like one of those two things will go down.
Although we are trying to actually find a place that will take a reservation,
Yeah.
which is tough because it's PAX weekend, but we're trying.
Yeah, we're working on it. Anyway, PAX, watch us. It's not streamed or anything, but we're going to record it. So if you're not at PAX, that'll be that week's episode of Idle Thumbs.
Yeah.
Unless the recording erases, in which case...
Sucks for you.
In which case, somebody's Vine will be the only
Yep.
evidence that this actually
Or
happened.
reconstruct it with vines.
Yes.
God. Okay, here, I'm saying this right now. If you're going to the Idle Thumbs panel, Vine at just random parts during the show, and then maybe we can make a forum thread and have people reconstruct the entire thing through vines.
Oh, this is the best idea.
I'm just declaring the stupidest idea ever.
No,
'cause
it's
maybe
wonderful.
someone will do a good job
it's
with
great.
it.
The one guy at
not
Vine
bad.
is like, yeah, sick vines.
I have faith that the Idle Forum goers would make an amazing thing out of this because they make amazing things out of all sorts of nonsense. So
Derek Liu, excuse me, would get a hold of it, and it would just be a perfect reconstruction.
Yeah.
He would like motion match everything and like rotoscope shit that wasn't there.
it would be
and
like-
it would just be a perfect reconstruction. Derek Liu has done
Did you
some
see
of
that
that.
the Microsoft's Hyperlapse video?
Yeah, holy
where
crap.
they took like
is this?
the 10 FPS quick like it was like a
It basically takes like first person GoPro footage and then at 30 frames per second it speeds it up to 10x and then programmatically
it
finds a
reconstructs 3D
spline.
space.
it reconstructs
Whoa.
3D space, builds a spline based on how
Oh
the
my
camera
God.
moves through the space,
Yeah.
and then you can watch that GoPro footage again.
But
and
like
it's
perfectly
smooth, like
But, so
as if
it's
on a dolly.
It's strange though because it actually looks
It's like somebody
what-
on a bike or
Yeah, yeah,
walking
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah,
it looks like a modern version of like a Journeyman Project or Last Express type of video game in a certain way though because
Right, because it seems artificial.
and
Right.
because it's made out of stills, people don't move smoothly, but the world moves smoothly. So the camera is just sailing perfectly
see
through the
this.
space. But then, like if you see a person in front of you riding a bike, they just sort of are cross dissolving between
Yeah.
my left foot's pedaling, my right foot's pedaling, or like
Yeah.
it's called Hyperlapse.
Hyperlapse. I
so
forget why I
cool.
started talking about this.
really wanna see
Because Derek Liu will make an amazing hyperlapse reconstruction of our panel, where all of the different vines, it in fact can somehow interpolate and soar between people's phones, like Professor
Batman?
Xavier, or Batman.
the end of the Dark Knight.
Yeah, like when Batman just becomes terrible.
Yeah, that was the.
I don't mean the movie
dumbest
becomes terrible. I mean the movie also is ridiculous that he does that, but also,
There's only one way to stop the Joker.
yeah. Batman, police state fascism, whatever, goes
Yeah, right.
off the charts right there.
Pretty much.
Lucius Fox comes back though; he forgives him. Of
course. Because it blows up because he knows he just has to use it the one time. I don't know about that message.
Yeah, it's not the best, really, when you think about it.
Just
I built this thing in a warehouse in a basement. One of my mansion's broken, and I'm not really working at my company right now. Anyway, this is a one-time thing that I'll never do again. It's really hard to do. It's in a shipping container, like just made out of shit. There isn't a 5 times bigger one of these.
It's so funny because the Dark Knight is so good, but if you describe it the way it is, it is the worst.
Yeah.
Like that was just an accurate description of the Dark Knight. Yeah. And I went, ugh.
Woof.
Yeah.
Let's go. Whoa. No, thank you.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, come see our podcast live show on Sunday at PAX. It won't be the worst. At 11:30 a.m.
Yeah, don't hold out for the cell phone
in the
reconstruction.
Sphinx Theater. Yeah, that's
No hyperlapse.
That's iffy. Also, another just housekeeping, I guess. So we, as you know, if you listen to this podcast, and this is not your first one,
If it is, though,
Hi there, welcome.
yeah, hi, welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Man, we should occasionally introduce ourselves, probably, right? Because this podcast
Not this week.
is like,
Yeah, we'll do it next week. Yeah.
But anyway.
Tune in next week to know who you're listening to.
So the last two episodes we did ads for World of Tanks. They were a sponsor of ours, which was really great of them. But some people, some of our listeners, I think, pretty reasonably pointed out that there's something weird about doing sponsored episodes about games on a podcast where a big part of what we do is give qualitative like analysis and recommendations of games. And so we have come to just the decision amongst ourselves that we, except in maybe really specific cases that we think are like have a really good reason, we're not going to do more game sponsorships. We will instead seek sponsors in areas that are kind of distinct from the core subject matter of our podcast.
I'll still happily talk about like headphones with neon green underlighting or something. But
yeah,
you know.
that's obviously fine.
Call us Razor.
Yeah.
Razor. Call us.
Come to us.
I mean,
Call us Razor.
to be fair, this was not 100% a reaction because readers complained. Like it's
No,
We had a long
been talking about
conversation.
it. Yeah, we've been
Just-
talking about it among ourselves. as
yeah,
well.
and when some of the points raised by people who listened to the podcast echoed some of our own concerns before we decided to take on that campaign, we sort of went, okay, it seems like everyone has got a sort of similar feelings
Like,
on
of
this.
the same mind.
They
about
also
it.
just weren't really that fun to do because of all that baggage. You know, like when we talk about any of the sponsors, like today's sponsors, for instance, like it's fun because there's no baggage and we also enjoy the products in a way that's sincere. So
It's the
Yeah, we
most
think it's-
fun, though, when you can talk about how a few weeks ago I bought Phil.fish.
I can't fucking. Sorry, that's still crazy to me. And like every 2 weeks, you're mentioning it on Twitter. Like you're just fucking poking the bee, like the nest. You're like, I know, is Phil Fish gonna come out of there and fucking lose his shit on me?
Pull honey.
That's so weird. I've never seen you be a weird passive internet bully.
I don't know who pointed it out. Someone, I feel like it was just in like the Idle Thumbs, like in our team chat or something. So like, we were talking about domain names and we're just like Phil.fish. What? How is this?
It's
What?
available.
Anyway, if you want to visit idlethumbs.net, visit phil.fish.
Or visit us at windowsinstallerfiles.cab.
Yeah, someone bought that.
There
Anyway,
was a great Nature Dipes one too, wasn't there?
Yes.
I know that was from a little while ago, but
Yeah.
oh, it's lovely.
Sorry. Now
we
we're
actually
not-
had to sell that URL back to them though, because it's a product that's not going to be in the works probably. Yeah. But thanks for the feedback on the forums and stuff. We had a really good conversation about the sort of sponsorship in general, and thanks for being great at that.
Yeah.
You guys are nuanced and thoughtful as an audience on the internet often is not. So thank you very
That's
much.
correct.
Anyone else play any cool video games?
I bet the readers did because they have done everything right lately.
Do you want to hear from them, the readers?
We can just wait for one of them to show up and tell us.
That's weird,
about a
Sean.
video
Do we have to do like an offering? You know,
to do a seance?
let's have a listen. Do I feel the reader's presence here with
Ring
us?
a bell if you're here, reader. Is the reader among us?
the
At the
reader.
Ouija board. The reader.
Ooh, that's the sequel to the Oracle.
Yes, the reader.
It's just a guy that
The
says
Rhode
say
Island Reader.
puffins. The Rhode Island Reader?
That's a serial killer.
That was the
I thought that was just like a weekly newspaper, like a weekly alternative.
Oh yeah, I mean it's that.
Well, the Rhode Island Reader is the
actual
serial
Rhode Island
killer.
Really?
Yeah. The Rhode Island Reader is named that because
God,
he
that
wraps
is
his bodies in the
fucking
Rhode Island Reader.
a crossfade montage of me being like, You know, Chris has no personal history before the year 2006. Do you know that? It's weird, right?
Did you know that right before Chris moved here, the Rhode Island Reader was active?
Yeah.
I mean, the newspaper and the serial killer.
Chris says he went to this high school, but like, he's not in any of the yearbooks.
Chris has a really high journalistic acumen and is good at hiding bodies.
Chris let it slip that he's 65 years old.
That's obvious.
You know.
Fair enough.
Chris is the Zodiac.
Oh my god.
The Zodiac is the Rhode Island Reader.
All the murders are connected.
Guys, I solved the Zodiac mystery. It was the Rhode Island Reader. What?
Oh, it was reported in the Rhode Island Reader that the Rhode Island Reader is the Zodiac. I have killed myself.
I am the Rhode Island Reader.
I am the Rhode Island Reader.
Sorry, the three of you saying it became a Spartacus moment. Like all you guys in court.
So
being
all
like,
this
"No,
is
it's
happening
me."
as Sean is sitting there going, good.
Good, yes.
You just hear the rustle of a broadsheet, or I guess it would be of a tabloid.
Yeah. A ball
You think it's
just blowing through the
I think it's
streets.
a tabloid, not a broadsheet?
The Rhode Island Reader seems like it's a weekly. I guess maybe it's not. Maybe it is a broadsheet. It's not anymore. If the Rhode Island Reader is a
Yeah, those
publication,
days are behind us. If the Chronicle's on a broadsheet.
it's outrageous that the Chronicle is not a broadsheet, but like,
You know, I've bought the SF Chronicle every Sunday for 6 weeks.
it's nice of you.
In recent times,
Jesus.
like now, like
Yeah,
last
I'm on my
6 weeks?
6 week. Yeah.
But like the Marin
I read it and I
Independent
do the
Journal,
crossword.
I think is still a broadsheet, and the Chronicle is not. It's
Wow.
The
really?
what? The what?
the Marin IJ, I think.
That's because Marin's fucking. They got money coming out of their ears. They don't
I
care
bet whatever
about
San
anything.
Jose paper exists, whatever their dailies is still a broadsheet.
It's just San Jose Beat. It's the Mercury.
Oh yeah, Mercury.
Yeah.
I bet the Mercury is still a broadsheet. But maybe the Rhode Island Reader is still a broadsheet. And at large.
He's still out there.
Do you have any reader mail?
Yeah. All right. Joaquin Lundqvist writes.
Wait, Joaquin Lundquist? That's a fucking awesome.
Joaquin Lundqvist.
That's a
really
cool
nice
name.
name.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Joaquin's
Hello,
a fucking
Christopher,
cool name.
Jacob, Sean, and Danielle. I've recently gone through a bad end to a
Was I
collaboration.
Jacob, but you were Christopher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
I like this guy.
I've recently gone through
Likes
a bad
names.
end to a collaboration. I don't expect I'll ever work with this person again, nor do I want to. The other person was quite hot-livered, so I knew that all I could do was to accept all the blame and move on with my life. Have you guys gone through any similar experiences you want to share? On an unrelated note, Jake, please share some hot scoops on Firewatch. Thanks for the podcast. Much love, CEJ on Idle Forums.
Sean and Chris do not.
Yeah.
So let's just start off with that. Camposanto is going to be at PAX, and we have a panel where we're talking about our. We're going to be showing some gameplay and trailer for Firewatch. It's Saturday at 10:30 in the Hedgehog Theater.
Nice.
And that will be live on Twitch.
And that'll
as
be
well.
live on Twitch.
So it's Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard
So
Time.
what was the question?
Have you ever gone through a creative collaboration that ended poorly with someone who is hot-livered?
I have.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
the deal?
Yeah, I went.
Dish.
I went to film school for grad school, and I worked with my then girlfriend at the time on all of our films. I produced all of her films, and we broke up, and it was sad and terrible. And then she refused to put my contact information or whatever on IMDb, and it was a
Oh,
thing.
no.
It was a
This
thing.
person was Diablo Cody.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, just with your life, I can just see it being.
I wish.
Like, just
Yeah,
like,
right.
like I can just
I
see
wish.
it being like
Right.
somebody, yeah.
That would be cool.
So I started my life as a paramedic, then a paratrooper, then a parasailer, then a genetic scientist.
I've not yet been a
I don't really do
paratrooper.
collaborations. Like Jake is the first person who I started collaborating with. Like so,
Suffice to say, it will
fucking
end
going
terribly.
fine now. I don't know. Yeah, I mean the game might be bad, but we'll be fine. I don't know. I've never
It's really depressing when that happens, though, to people.
I'm not
you know,
worried about that
it's like-
because it's like the failure won't. Because like I can just point out all the shit he did wrong. Just kidding.
That's fun.
what a hot
I don't know. Like
response.
it's much easier to like. I've always worn failure really personally, so like it does help a little bit to fail as a group, even though I know it'll just personally like kill me.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I haven't worked collaboratively so intensely as like one-to-one on stuff. I usually end up either doing a thing entirely by myself or as part of a big enough group that it's more. If the relationship ever goes bad, it's because the team is big enough that there's one person. I'm just like, you're my enemy. You're my enemy on this project. But that's so different than like
Yeah.
the two of us are spinning up ideas together and creating all these things,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
like notable failed collaborations like Hoffler, Frere Jones, Type Foundry. The Beatles.
Good list. Beatle, Hopler, Fred Jones, Type Library, the classics.
Classics. The most Jake Rodkin of all lists. God damn. But you know what, though? It's something that, like, I think it's... You come to this realization because we started a business, but kind of creative collaborations that are going to take up the bulk of your life, you have to treat them like you would go into a relationship. Like, it's like a marriage. Like, it's harder for Jake and I to extract ourselves from each other at this stage, both creatively and just like...
This was also a thing when we were
business
talking
and
about Idle
legally.
Thumbs Kickstarter, too.
Yeah.
We were like, because none of us had ever done anything like this before. We're like, this is now incredibly real. Yeah.
Extracting yourself out of that once it becomes like a product, especially if it's a product that makes money, like, is challenging. It's much more challenging than like a breakup. Like a romantic breakup where you just like go live with your buddy for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. So I
Well,
think... I don't know. I
just
just
as
go into those... I just
heartbreaking.
think you just go into those things like really... You have to like be really in tune with your gut about what the relationship is.
I mean, I think it can be as heartbreaking as a romantic relationship too. I mean, if you really love
for
your
sure.
work and you really believe in it, and you feel like, well, now I'm shut out of this wonderful,
Yeah, but like, like,
thing.
yeah. It has to be like, trust is really the thing.
I've never had one of those.
Like, if I screwed you over, you screwed me over, it would be devastating. It would fucking
Yeah.
wreck my life. I don't know what I would do.
all of the situations that I've been in where I've had some amount of creative agency, it's not been a pure relationship as far as the power structure goes when it has gone badly. It has almost always been, I feel like I'm getting dicked over by some sort of powers that be, or realizing that I'm doing an incredibly shitty job as a leader. But that's never a peer relationship in my personal experience. So I look forward to the time that a peer relationship crumbles. Not this one. It'll be the next one after this one ends successfully.
No hot livers.
No, our livers are cool.
Cool
Liver.
bros.
Cool liver, they call me.
Cool liver Vanneman.
Katrin Baker writes,
I'd never heard the term hot livered before. Though.
I have-
Yeah,
And it
that's
just
good.
reminded me of that song.
I wonder if it's a translation, like a idiomatic expression.
It's a phrase that
It definitely feels like a phrase, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like it very much.
All right. Katrin Baker writes, Divinity and Dota. Hey, Thumbs, during one of your semi-recent casts, someone mentioned the game Divinity Original Sin, and I believe I heard the phrase, oh, we should play that game. I was just wondering if any of you had done so yet. This game was not even on my radar until a couple days before release, and I'm loving it. I haven't played an RPG with combat that feels this satisfying in a long time. I'm hoping you will play it so you can talk about it. Additionally, I'm rooting for that AC Slater versus Potato Day match in the Rektreational so I can hear you guys do professional grade shoutcasting. Please make it happen, Katie. So, I thought when I started reading this that it was going to somehow connect Divinity and Dota.
It only
and
did.
then I was going to toss it to you.
Katie just decided to write about a couple of things I'm into.
Yeah, it
appreciate
connected.
it, Katie.
It connected
You're
through
great.
the
One of the
vessel that
greats.
was Sean Vanneman.
Yes.
Yeah.
The conduit.
I have nothing to say other than
Would
I
you
really...
care to make that create that tenuous connection that I just spuriously fucking...
Oh, like mechanically
proposed?
inside the games?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, never mind then.
They both are top down.
They're both Diablo.
Yeah, click.
What are the odds?
I mean, Dota's really just a Diablo, right?
You just click. What
You click on stuff. Oh.
What are the odds of a Potato Day AC Slater
Low.
showdown?
Low.
Yeah.
So
Even in the loser bracket?
we're both in the, no. I guess we're both in the winners bracket right now
Oh.
because we went 2-0.
Jake looks amazed.
So
by
it's a
this.
double elimination tournament
sounds
where if you get
Spider-Man.
knocked out, you go down to the losers bracket and then you can fight your way back into the championship. But we are in opposite. Literally, think of just like a bracket. They're at like it wasn't seeded, just randomly. They're on one side of the bracket and we're on the other side of the
So
bracket.
you guys would have to fight your way from complete opposite ends of the bracket to basically the end.
to the semifinals. Not impossible. We probably, I mean,
Everyone else in the recreational,
play worse
throw
teams.
your games so that this happens, please.
we
Thank you.
play less experienced teams on the way to the semifinals, so I could see us maybe getting there. They play a fucking rogues gallery of ice cold killers. I don't know how.
So
they're
were
gonna
there a
get there.
cross-cut montage of
But
this?
AC
It was-
is an awesome captain. That dude is an awesome, awesome captain. Like talking to those guys about when they lost their second game. Did Nick talk about this?
No.
Yeah, that guy like got on TeamSpeak and was like, everybody calm down. You're pissed, you're angry, you're afraid of getting knocked out of this tournament. Everybody calm down. Pick your favorite hero, let's go play Dota. And they won. Like The problem with our team is we're all friends, so there's nobody who can do that. Because if Nick's like, everybody calm down, I'm like, oh, fuck you, Nick, come on. This is Nick Herman from Telltale.
Oh.
You know? And he's like, what? And Brad's like, this goes silent. But we had a great first match.
You need a Coach Taylor. That's what you need.
We would, oh my gosh. We have a like off hours coach. There's no coaches allowed in the matches. And you have to have your on the field captain, but we have a secret off the field coach who's helped us out a little bit.
Excellent.
The culture around that entire tournament has
Ice
actually
frog.
been really fun. Who told you? Yeah, anyway. Cool. I hope it happens because I just want you guys to cast it.
Me too. Tom Kidd writes, hope for the future. Hey guys, I thought I'd send along a quick anecdote about kids in Minecraft. Yeah. My wife and I went to a friend's house for an evening of board games. The couple has an 8-year-old daughter and they're hardcore gamers, so their daughter is naturally into Minecraft. Another woman, Kathy, came along with her own 8-year-old daughter, so the two girls played while the rest of us played Cards Against Humanity. At some point, Kathy...
Sorry, just the two 8-year-olds in another room. My mom's just like...
Hitler's dick!
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Good pull. Because everything I was saying, I couldn't say on the podcast in my head. I was like, Hitler's dick. Of course, yes, Hitler's dick.
Done.
Naturally.
Yeah.
At some point, Kathy's daughter came in, ran over to her elated... Wait, hold on, I'm reading this incorrectly. Oh, I see. At some point, Kathy's daughter ran over to her, elated, gasping for air from excitement, saying,
Hitler's dick!
I made it in Minecraft.
It's a perfect dick with a tiny mustache.
It could have a red armband.
oh my God.
Make sure it has one ball.
That's way more doable
Good
in
job.
Minecraft. Sorry.
Oof.
What?
This is like an
Scandalized.
otherwise heartwarming story that is now...
Okay, I know. We ruined it. I'm sorry. Because last week we had the best...
I fucking made this bed. I gotta lie in it
Yeah.
now.
We had the best emails and we didn't ruin them.
Sorry. I wasn't here last week.
All right. So at some point, Kathy's daughter ran over to her, elated, gasping for air from excitement, saying, Mom, she plays Minecraft too. And she has mods. Then she scurried away. The incident made me really happy. As a PC gamer, the last console generation was sort of brutal since we started... since as consoles became a more dominant platform, there's a lot of fear of mainstream development leaving PC entirely. But even if the ids, Epics, and Bethesda's abandoned it, someone in a garage somewhere would make the next Counter-Strike and it would start over again. The next Counter-Strike was obviously Minecraft, but in recent years we've seen Steam become the de facto PC gaming platform, Humble Bundles filling up everyone's library with diverse, interesting games, and the rise of competitive gaming. And now 8-year-old girls are getting giddy over PC game mods. It flashes me back to trying to get mods running on Quake 1 in 1996, over a decade prior to either of these girls being born. So every time someone gets mopey over games or whines about free-to-play or too many Call of Duty sequels, I can look to how today's kids want to run PC games on actual computers with mods and think that there's hope for the future. Tom Kidd, I agree with everyone. Danielle is an excellent addition to the podcast, not only because she's great on the show and brings a new perspective, but also because my wife complains a lot less when I play the show in the car.
Well, that's rude.
That's really sweet. That's a really sweet story, both for the amazingly flattering thing that they said at the end and for just... That's so awesome. And it also makes me happy that it's not like, they're not super excited to play Barbie's Horse Adventure. They're excited to play Minecraft with mods. That makes me really thrilled.
This is also 2 weeks in a row that have stories about kids young kids who are conscious enough of how to install mods into Minecraft that
it's a
that's
topic
just in their
of,
vernacular.
Discussion. Yeah.
I don't like there's an 8-year-old who could install a mod in Minecraft.
I love
I
it.
don't know how to do it. That's the part that I don't like. I'm like, how do you...
They probably just watch
I can Google it. I can figure it out.
I mean, that's the thing. 8-year-olds just watch a YouTube video how to do anything that they know how to do.
I know.
It's amazing. It's actually really
But yeah, an
cool.
8-year-old learns how to install a Minecraft mod.
Even before YouTube, 8-year-olds figure that shit out because they just figure out how to do it because they have nothing else to do.
Because their entire life... We've
Definitely
talked about this in the podcast. We're
Yeah.
like, when you're 8... 99% of being alive is just figuring out how to do something for the first time.
You don't know how to do anything, so the fact that you don't know how to install a mod is not a deterrent.
So you don't know how to
You don't
cook
have
a
to do
steak.
fucking literally anything, and so you're just like, well, this is the thing I want to do. I'll just keep doing it till I do it.
Right, and
Probably still afraid of the alien that's coming through your skylight. So, whatever.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, this clearly comes from like thinking about how kids learn about a Minecraft mod. I imagine is kind of this strange combination of the weird future where it's because a kid plays on someone else's Minecraft server and sees that there's crazy shit that you can do, but also it's the schoolyard conversation has to be a part of it, right? Where
totally.
they're like, oh, well, I play this Minecraft server where you can do X, Y, Z, which is the like way more awesome version of the one that we've talked about forever, which is, oh, my friend's uncle's nephew works in Japan.
Yeah.
This instead, it's that where you're like, I did this crazy thing on this other guy's Minecraft server, but it's actually real, and you can just go do it yourself by learning how to
Right.
do it,
That's
and
a
then
really
you
good
also know
point.
how to mod games. Like
That you
Amazing.
saying that really makes me think
I made the fart
about-
sound. Shit, we're not supposed to make that sound anymore. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
It's okay.
So one of the things I remember that is like my memories of elementary school are kind of just sporadic. You know, like, I don't have like super great, thorough memories of all that stuff. But I, you know, like everyone remembers it basically. And a very significant part of my memories of that age is the way that fads would take over
Yeah, of course.
elementary school in a thorough way that just eclipses
And it's
the
sort
way,
of like truly viral.
Yes.
Like before
Yes.
that word became a dead
yeah,
cliche.
and I'm talking about before
Yeah.
we all had the internet. And
where like
stuff,
somebody
it was
went on
just-
vacation that summer and
And
came back with a yo-yo.
Yes,
Or
Yeah,
pogs.
exactly right.
Pogs,
Pogs.
yo-yos and pogs, both.
Yeah.
Like, and those things would take one of two forms. Usually, they were either things that were like manufactured, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or something that was like some
like
company
Pogs.
deliberately, like says this is going to be a thing that's going to be popular because we have a vested interest in making it popular and we're targeting it towards kids and it's going to be fucking huge. Or it's like yo-yos or complicated jump ropes or things that are like much
like
more
a
bottom
rediscovered
yeah,
thing that's
exactly.
just been in the bin.
Generic
Yeah.
thing. Minecraft is a crazy new one that's like in between those, in that it's definitely a thing made by specific people, but it wasn't made by like a media company
Right.
trying to like demographically target something. It was just a crazy.
But it's kind of
like,
grown into that at this point. Like kids now grow into there being Minecraft toys on a shelf in Toys R Us.
That's true, I suppose. I guess it
But that
is
stuff
kind
feels-
of graduated
it's-
to that.
but all that
I
stuff
think
feels
that's the result
like a
of
result
it
of it,
becoming
yeah.
a phenomenon.
Right, but I mean, I think that now makes it self-perpetuating in the way of the constructed one, even though it was not malicious,
Right.
malicious
That's
or
probably-
aggressive.
that's probably
Like,
It doesn't
true.
feel like there's, but it doesn't feel like there's a like initiative deck behind it. It's just
Right.
sort of
it's.
people making lots of money.
I don't
But
disagree
it's
with that.
so weird when you see like a Cactus Man T-shirt in a Hot Topic.
Right, well,
that's-
when
that's
you're
the
walking
thing,
through a
though. Yeah,
shitty
now-
mall that you don't want to be in.
It
You're
is
like, what
different
that?
now though because Minecraft is spread either entirely organically virally, where a kid plays Minecraft and tells another kid about it, or it's because you're a kid in elementary school who dresses as a creeper for Halloween and has 5 creeper T-shirts and a creeper lunchbox, and then it's like, oh, why do you have all these things? Why do you like them? Oh, it's Minecraft. You
Right.
know, like, but it's weird that it does like it has such a different path.
Yeah. The most fascinating thing for me in the last few months that I've done was I actually went to the arcade in Santa Cruz, and all
there are
the
Minecraft arcade
prizes.
games?
No, but all the prizes are Minecraft merchandise, like the Minecraft, the box
Yeah.
head thing, or the
Right, yeah,
T-shirts,
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever else. And it's fascinating for several reasons because it's older arcade games, and then iPad or iPhone games that are now blown up and made to be arcade games in the traditional arcade space.
they
And then
have
all the
threes?
prizes are Minecraft. I don't think they had threes,
Does
but
the
they had like Fruit Ninja and things like
Right,
that.
yeah, sure.
Like
Does the Santa Cruz Boardwalk still have laser tag?
yes, and I played it and it was great,
Oh my god!
and I almost won.
I went there with you one time, Jake.
Yeah, we played laser tag at the Boardwalk.
Yeah.
You guys should go
It's
again.
really
It's an
fun.
hour away.
It was all children and myself and my girlfriend and like another.
I haven't
friend,
been
but
to
whatever.
Santa Cruz in so long.
Are you even allowed back there? Didn't you just sort of leave under guys under darkness?
No. I quit my job for a career in the video game industry.
Now
to
what?
play professional laser tag. It's the new
I had
esport.
recently got my car insurance back and my driver's license in the clear, and I got in my car and left.
Thanks to the memories.
Got my shots and left Santa Cruz.
Do you wanna, are we?
You'll close it out with this one. This is
Okay.
kind of a goofy one.
Yes.
I don't read a lot of these anymore, but what the hell? This is not.
What the hell? Baboo, wizard, say
No.
muffin.
This is a dream email.
But you are not. This is not an
Yeah,
implicit
this is not
endorsement.
like I'm not soliciting more dream emails. I'm
Right.
just- all right. Angelic Mayhem writes, Dear Idle Thumbs, since I know you folks enjoy emails about dreams, not true, but we're doing you a favor this time. And
we
Whoa.
did not. You started with a falsehood.
Yeah. I
we-
thought I'd share. In my dream last night, I was flying on a plane to Oklahoma City to attend a press junket at the Hobby Lobby, which was announcing a brand new video game division.
Oh,
I was hostile and attending this event against my will. I arrived I arrived and walked up to an overly boisterous priest who exclaimed, "You have to meet our new press contact. It's the one and only Nick Brecken. He says he's super rad." As I stood in line waiting to interview Nick, I became fearful that the cup of coffee in my hand would cool too quickly to properly convey my contempt of his betrayal when I threw it in his face. So I broke apart my laser pointer to jerry-rig a heating device. I felt a tap on my shoulder. Without turning to acknowledge who it was, I blurted out, "Not now, I'm trying to burn someone." Then the sweetest Rhode Island accent said, "Don't worry, he's a spy." Wait, sweetest Rhode Island accent said,
Don't worry, he's a spy.
Instantly, everything was okay. I woke up and shot off this email. I guess this is my way of saying welcome, Danielle. Angelic Mayhem.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just like the idea of Nick Brecken being a double agent under the employ of the Hobby Lobby video game publisher.
And it's
Again,
all good
if somebody,
because he's
that's
a
like
spy.
what I can't remember what I said the other day, but if somebody said that was true, like, all right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's real.
Tracks.
That's Nick.
Tracks with the Nick Brecken I know. Or don't know.
Exactly.
Nobody really knows Nick Brecken.
I was really excited about something before that email, and I forgot what it was.
I saw it in your eyes.
Oh, it was the Santa Cruz thing.
Oh.
You're excited about your statute of limitations on all your crimes?
No, just
you can go back
You play laser tag every
and
day.
get some Brazilian food.
yeah. They
at
have
that
they
spot.
have the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk. You know, it's just a big old classic boardwalk. And for some reason, I think it was related to when I was on the college paper. I ended up having to drive over there at like 10:30 or 11. No, it was earlier than that because it was winter. It was probably just 6 or 7. It was after dark on like the windiest, stormy day of my entire existence in Santa Cruz. Boardwalks in the middle of a windstorm are the most haunted, fucking freaky things in the world. Like the fences were blowing over, leaves were going everywhere. It just looked like a real life Silent Hill. But
Did the haunted house beckon?
Honestly, what it looked like was the
Silent
arcade
Hill
game
2.
Carnival. The light gun shooter.
It'll bleed a little bit of that.
See Kojima's doing a Silent Hill game?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
What?
With Guillermo
Really?
del Toro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Dude, read Polygon, man.
Yeah, Polygon.com. We got all the
Okay.
news.
Use the promo code.
promo code thumbs. Polygon.com/thumbs. That's where everybody
Just
goes.
redirect to Idle Thumbs.
You know where you can use the promo code thumbs is at NatureBox.
Whoa.
Yeah. A delicious snack subscription service. If you go to naturebox.com and use the promo code thumbs, you will get 50% off your first NatureBox full of delicious treats that you will love.
We recommend the Pea Box.
Peas, pineapples.
Ask for it by name. And then we'll go, we don't know what
We
you're
don't know what
talking
that is, but you could have some.
But
like
there's
some
things that are in
dried
that shape.
peas.
Okay.
Wasabi
Yeah.
peas. Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Raising wasabi.
Video games. God, we're someone is going to say something about something before the first break. I forget what it was going to be about. Good, that was a really good thing I just said.
Someone was going to say something about something, and I forgot what
Somebody
it was.
speaking to a microphone?
Something was like announced. It's Sierra.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Sierra!
We're not returning to Sierra.
What? Come on!
You want to talk about that? Or is this going to go into the podcast somewhere?
I'm stuck.
Break
in the
out that
past.
dual stick 360 controller. Get your reflexes ready, gamers, because Sierra's coming back. Geometry
With a
Wars
King's
2,
Quest.
I'm
3.
legitimately
Game.
excited about Geometry Wars.
The King's Quest.
It's in the top five
They're bringing
hours
back
long.
the heyday of Sierra overextending itself from the makers of Hoyle Casino games, some shitty arcade thing, and I guess Half-Life comes Geometry Wars.
It is really strange that Sierra said, let's reinvigorate the brand, and like went to the wall of playbooks of like, which company, and then
Which era
grabbed
of Sierra
grabbed
do
the
we want?
Majesco one, and went like, that's the playbook we're going to follow.
Well, no, it is
A
actually...
wide, weird net. Let's do this.
They took...
If they make the Jaws game,
Brands
I'm
are-
all for it.
Brand identity sucks.
It feels like they opened up Sierra Online's Wikipedia page, took every era of their company out, put it on Wheel of Fortune, spun, and were like, oof, late era CD-ROM. Well, there we go. This is what it is. Publish anything to stay in... Oh, we're out of business.
You know what was weird? In the press release...
Maybe they're actually just trying to go back in time. So like they have to start with like they're like it's like
We're going to end with amazing, groundbreaking adventure games. And to rebrand
But
with the name
to
Sierra
get there,
Online.
to get there, we have to slog back.
God,
through.
that means the next phase is Half-Life 3, though.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Because if we're in the reverse, like if this is Benjamin buttoning through the death throws,
Exactly
the
right.
next one is Half-Life.
Yeah, not bad.
And then after that,
Not
it's like
fucking bad.
competing with
like
Disney and Christmas Monkey Island.
Phantasmagoria.
Oh no, yeah, we gotta get to Phantasmagoria, and then we get to like King's Quest 7, and then we get to King's Quest 6, which is like fucking sick.
no problems.
And then we'll maybe get some Space Quest type stuff, and then we're gonna eventually roll back to soft porn text adventure though. So
Maybe we'll
I mean, I'm okay with that. I feel like itch.io is the place for these things now.
gotta write it out, man.
we're gonna end up in the itch.io soft porn.
we just gotta ride it out.
Perfect.
We gotta ride this out.
itch.io soft porn. My new game.
We're gonna ride it out till
I don't like that it says itchy in it. No good.
Slight issue.
I don't know why you didn't
I really like the
was
theory
really
that
good.
Sierra is Benjamin buttoning. I like that a lot.
Good.
Just
Glad that pleased you.
reverse age.
They weirdly contacted Ken Williams to just give them a soundbite in the press release. He was just like,
That's what you do.
can't wait to see this. It was bizarre.
Come
But
on.
There was no indication about that he has any involvement or anything to do with anything.
That's in this post Kickstarter era. That's the move that you make.
That's true.
Gotta get that name
Classic
in there.
adventure game guy shows up to endorse you.
Yeah,
He just shows up in the video for 10 seconds. Thumbs up. And
I mean,
goes.
like, who knows what Irrational Games is doing, and who knows what that guy is like, what's up at that studio? But you know that when 2K or when Take-Two decides they're going to reinvigorate the BioShock franchise at some point, which they will inevitably do, if Ken Levine is not involved, his phone's at least going to ring.
Yeah,
And someone's going to
true.
be like, please say something in our press release. And he's
Right,
like,
yeah.
those other guys got that other Ken.
Classic Kens.
You know, there's another Ken Levine who's a screenwriter.
Yeah, who worked on Cheers.
I know. I found this out recently on a Wikipedia
Wait, so when
dive.
Ken Levine has his, because isn't he writing the Logan's Run
Yes.
screenplay? Is he going to be like Ken F. Levine or
It's
something?
going to
like,
have
is he
to be on IMDb. There's going to have to be some
Kenneth
differentiation.
Levine?
Kenneth Q. Levine.
Yeah, because like
Kenneth-
WGA is not going to let that fly.
It's true. Yeah.
Is that how that works?
There can't be two Ken Levines. Yeah. There are, though. I mean,
Not for the same discipline, no.
Rhode
Yeah.
Two
Island Reader.
Levines.
The Rhode Island Reader, Ken Levine.
oh, it's the Cheers guy, though.
God.
Yeah, have fun editing this podcast, friend.
Oh, yeah.
Naturebox.com, promo code thumbs.
Yeah, that's the outro they want.